Thanks so much. Can everybody hear me? Genesis, can you hear me?
We sure can.
Okay, excellent. I'm trying a new external mic and wanted to make sure. I am delighted to be here. I'm going to share my screen so I can share some slides. And let's get it out of that mode. There we go.
We can see those. Great.
Excellent. Thanks so much. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to present here today, and really proud of this symposium for being in its 8th year. I love that every year we gather to talk about what I think is one of the most important topics for the rule of law. Yes, I said the rule of law, and I'll explain that. But today I'm going to talk a little bit about the American Arbitration Association International Center for Dispute Resolution and how we have committed ourselves to improving diversity in alternative dispute resolution and what that looks like, and how we revisit it every year and think about how we can do more and how we can do better. Just this past year, we actually revisited our mission, vision, and values statements. I'm actually only almost 1 year in the job, and I was before that on the bench. And it was a good time to look at our mission, vision, and values. And you will see that in our values, celebrating differences is where we finish our value statements. It's a pretty important part of who we are and what we do. But in the mission statement and the vision statement, you will notice that fairness is critical to providing excellent services for helping people resolve disputes. If it's not fair, if the process isn't fair, it's not gonna work. So I want to talk for a minute before I go into the specific things that we at the AAA do.
Is that?
Somebody's not muted, but
all right,
that's
we'll
okay.
make sure to mute everybody.
It's no problem. I want to talk a little bit about why it matters. I mean, I'm probably talking about this in the wrong room because you're all here, so you already know why it matters. But it was an important cause for me when I was on the bench, and it's as important, if not more important, in a private dispute resolution system, where sometimes networks matter even more than in a public dispute resolution system where appointments and elections can be a process where more people can break through. Are not always, but can be. But there's lots of reasons, and they're not that different from all the reasons that having a diverse workforce makes a difference. Obviously, the top line of addressing inequities is pretty important. It wasn't the case that there were not talented women and people of color and people from other diverse communities who were capable of being excellent mediators and arbitrators 20, 40, and 60 years ago. That wasn't why they weren't on those rosters. They were simply excluded for a long time, and addressing inequities is important for us to say that we care about and then do something about. Diverse groups, diverse workforces, diverse committees, diverse boards are better at problem solving. They have a greater capacity for finding better solutions to stickier problems. And there's all kinds of social science research about that. So simply improving the process of resolving disputes is enhanced when we are careful to make sure we have a diverse group of people who are making decisions in those disputes. Reduction of bias overall is a separate goal for diversifying not only your workforce, but your panelists if you're running an organization that resolves disputes. And finally, the one that I talk about maybe most of all is public confidence. The rule of law is, at the end of the day, only a set of ideas, and it's only as good as the public's confidence in it. And the public's confidence in public dispute resolution decision-making has been faltering in recent years for lots of different reasons. But one way to grow public confidence is to make sure that the decision makers, the people who are resolving disputes, whether they're in courts or whether they're in mediations or arbitrations or other dispute resolution processes, reflect our communities. And that is fundamental to growing public confidence in our decisions. And if we lose public confidence, the rule of law gets wobbly. So that to me is reason enough to think about this when we get up every day and when we go to bed. So at the AAA ICDR, I am lucky enough to get to talk today about a lot of practices, policies, and work that has been going on for decades, long before I arrived a year ago. And I really am lucky to get to work with a number of fantastic leaders on these issues who have done the laboring work that I now get to just show up and talk about. I would describe our process as both outside in and inside out. And I mean by that, it's important that our workforce is diverse. It's important that we do what we can to make sure we recruit a diverse roster. It's important that we make sure that we send lists to parties of panelists that are diverse lists. It's important that when we recruit faculty at our education programs, that those faculty are diverse. And finally, it's important to us that we support and collaborate with others in the legal community who are working on diversifying ADR. So I'm going to talk next about some specific things that we've done at the AAA that are concrete, that get us closer to a more diverse panel. So recently, just this year, we built into our clause builder tool, the AAA has on its website, a tool that allows parties, individuals, lawyers, non-lawyers who are drafting an ADR clause into a contract. It gives them lots of options for how to build that clause. And we just this year added a diversity, equity, and inclusion section to Clause Builder. So folks who are building their clause in our tool will have the option of including in their clause that the parties should consider, or however they want to put it, diverse panelists in their dispute. Clause Builder tool, by the way, next week will be getting quite an upgrade. If you're at Legal Week, come see the AAA's panel on our experiments with generative AI, including our Clause Builder AI tool, which we will release into the wild next week in beta form, only in beta form. We have joined the 2 pledges in the ADR community that support growing a diverse panel, the Equal Representation in Arbitration Pledge. This is an international arbitration pledge that affirms our commitment to increase the number of women arbitrators in the international dispute resolution field. We also maintain and make public our statistics about the number of women that we have who are appointed in ICDR arbitrations and the number of women on our roster. Transparency is important to us in this area. And again, this spring, we joined the Rate Corollary Initiative Pledge. The Rate Corollary Pledge, oops, slide's getting away from me, is one that a number of our fellow institutions have also joined, and its aim is to increase the diversity, equity, and inclusion of the selection of arbitrators, mediators, and other ADR neutrals. The Rate Corollary Initiative aims to encourage ADR providers to include at least 30% of diverse neutral candidates in their lists to parties. We joined that in April. And we sponsor and organize and fund and host and support and partner with numerous organizations, law schools, trade groups around the country on DEI initiatives. I won't go through them all, but you can see on the slide, these are a number of the organizations and conferences that we have sponsored and supported over the last couple of years. In addition to that, for, let's see, 2009, I'm doing my math, about 15 years, the AAA has had the Higginbotham Fellows Program. The Higginbotham Fellows Program is a one-year program that provides training, mentorship, and networking opportunities to up-and-coming diverse ADR professionals. Its goal is to get diverse ADR professionals going in their careers by giving them the kind of support and networking and relationship building that many successful arbitrators had before they were successful. The program has inducted 169 fellows since it was founded, and almost all of the fellows who have applied have advanced to the AAA roster. And a majority of those have been selected to serve on cases, and 3 have even been elected to the AAA's council. We also have a program for law students. Every November, we hold a diverse student ADR summit, and it's a 1.5-day summit for diverse second and third year diverse law students. Our goal is to provide them with an in-depth understanding of how to be successful as an arbitrator or a mediator if they have an interest in that career. It's led by experienced ADR professionals and litigators, and we recruit people from all over the country and even out of the country. And the AAA ICDR Foundation covers gives people a stipend to get to New York when that's needed. Oops, slides are stuck. There we go. Sorry about that. So our roster is obviously a concrete place where we can make a difference. So it is in our executives' goals every year. It's in our organizational goals and then our executive goals to focus on recruiting diverse candidates to our rosters. So to give you an example of what that looked like in 2023, the most recent year that we have numbers for, 286 new additions to the roster, and 49% of the new panelists identified themselves as diverse. And that was a significant increase from 2022. The current roster has 34% of its panelists are diverse, but what's perhaps more important is the increase from year to year. You can see that in 2019, 26% of the panel was diverse. 2021, it was 29%, and in 2023, we went from 30 to 34%. So the fact that it's growing every year is encouraging to our executives who are focusing on that year after year. We keep track of it within each roster at the AAA. That's important because it sometimes teaches us where we need to spend a little bit more time and effort recruiting diverse panelists. We've had better luck with some of those rosters than others. But at the end of the day, we have so far continued to surpass our organizational goals. And we've also surpassed them on the lists we create. So in addition to recruiting diverse candidates to our panels, we have a goal of having 30% diverse panelists on the lists that go out to the parties in our cases. And as you can see, in 2023, we did far better than 30%. We were at 34%. We also, though, keep track of the number of diverse panelists who are actually appointed, right? There's only, we can make sure we recruit diverse panelists. We can then make sure that diverse panelists make it onto our lists. But that's where our part of this process ends. There's actually a little bit more. I'll talk about it in a second. But at that point, the parties get to choose from the list who to appoint. And one of the most encouraging data points of this data that we keep is the increasing number of panelists who are appointed over this period where we've been focusing on making sure parties had choices of diverse panelists. The fact that in 2022, and we will soon know what the number is for 2023, we're still running those numbers, that 35% diverse panelists were appointed, and that was an increase from 2021, which was an increase from the year before and the year before that, is to me the most telling part of this story. It makes very plain that when you give people opportunity, you can change the way the face of arbitration and mediation looks. I wanted to say one more thing about our team. We obviously have been talking a lot about the panel, but it's also, the AAA is a fantastic place to work because of the diversity on our staff. 45% of our staff are non-white or from other underrepresented groups, 72% are female. You can read the rest of the statistics. And internally, we have a DEI employee resource group to make sure that we're focusing not only on our external house, but our internal house as well. We're very proud that we have pay equity across women and men and across white employees and non-white employees. And this diverse workforce, just like a diverse panel and a diverse group of mediators, means that we have a more innovative, more creative, and better problem-solving culture. That's helpful when you want to keep thinking about new ways we can increase diversity in this field that we all care about. I wanted to spend 1 minute talking a little bit about what's next. You know, I wanted to leave you with the understanding that we believe that it's not enough to talk about a diverse panel or a diverse workforce. You have to actually put policies in place, give people goals, and work to make sure that you create a diverse workforce and a diverse panel. There's probably even more, though, that we can be doing, and we're focusing on what that might be now. So just as we support emerging ADR professionals through the Higginbotham Fellows Program and students who are interested in becoming ADR professionals through the Diverse Student Summit, it is also the case that there are people who are on our panels who are diverse, who we could be doing more to mentor, to help network, to introduce them to people who would help them get appointed in more cases. So we're now trying to build out a couple of mentorship programs. I think we want to start with one and make it successful and then copy it, because I feel like there's one little area there where we can continue to build a successful program. I've been struck by how the recent Supreme Court litigation and some litigation after it has made so many in many industries worried about their DEI programs and commitments. I don't share those views. I think if anything, it makes our project and our work more important than ever. And to me, if there's one field where we have to get it right, it's dispute resolution. I don't want to go on and on about the rule of law, but public confidence is the foundation of the rule of law. And if our decision makers don't look like our communities, don't reflect our communities, we will erode public confidence. I think I can pause there, and if you want me to, take any questions.
Thank you so much, Bridget. That's excellent. And I love how you're ending with this talk about the confidence that people have in our institutions. And I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about what diversity means. So we know that with arbitration, it's being written into a lot more. Businesses love arbitration, right?
Yeah.
And so the connection that a lot of individuals have with their legal system more and more can be arbitration.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing from you, you mentioned that it's really about an opportunity to grow public confidence in our systems.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I think that that's an excellent point.
Yeah, it's, it's something I've spent a lot of time thinking about when I was in a public dispute resolution system. I mean, my strong view about mediation and arbitration is even though it's an alternative dispute resolution system and often a private dispute resolution system, it's critical to supporting our public dispute resolution systems. Our courts, especially our state courts, are swamped. And we also know that for lots of people, lots of organizations, and lots of businesses, there are better ways to resolve disputes than litigation. And so I believe private dispute resolution and alternative dispute resolution is fundamental to public dispute resolution. I view them as intertwined and importantly intertwined. And so it's as important as it is for judges and justices to reflect the communities they serve, the communities that they make decisions that can change their lives. It's as important, if not more important, for those of us who work in alternative dispute resolution systems that support those public dispute resolution systems to also reflect those communities. There's all this social science data on procedural fairness. And what the data shows is, as I'm sure you're well aware, is that if people believe that they are treated fairly, that they understand the process, they understand why what happened, they will even take bad news. They will accept a decision that isn't the one they were hoping for when they went in, if they believe there was procedural fairness. And there's also lots of data to show that procedural fairness grows when you have diverse decision makers. People are more likely to believe that the system is fair if the people making the decisions reflect their communities.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I want to loop back around to some of these initiatives and programs that you're talking about at AAA. And one of the things that stands out in your presentation is really how data-driven it is and how you're looking at every step of the process to make sure that people are supported to understand what the impact is, what their experience might be. Not every organization can say that they're tracking those things and looking at ways to improve. And one of the things that stood out for me, you were talking about mentoring, right? And you were talking about networking. And part of it is that you can have this fantastic slate of highly qualified, effective, fantastic mediators, but if no one knows that they're there or is willing to take a chance on them, then they're not getting the cases, right? And it sounds like you're constantly revisiting these programs and systems to improve, and you're seeing like that might be a bottleneck. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, I'm really thrilled to talk more about that. I'm excited about it actually, because I love that. First of all, thank you for the compliment. I find it really tremendous that AAA keeps track of all this data and makes it transparent. I think that actually is a really important part of moving forward. We all have to make sure we actually know what's happening and that other people know what's happening too. If we don't know what's happening, it's hard to fix it, right? So the transparency about data is really important. I love that the AAA starts with diverse law students. Like let's let's go all the way back. I mean, I think we should maybe go to college students next, right? Like, let's make sure that if there are diverse law students who might be interested in an ADR career, but might not have any idea what the path to getting there looks like, that we can at least support them. And that program grows every year, and we can support them not only in showing them that path, but support them financially in getting to the program. And that's great. The Higginbotham Fellows has been a tremendous success because that's aimed at folks who are, just starting out in their careers, and they really do need to learn a lot about what it means to be a successful arbitrator and mediator. And it's a full year program, and they get ongoing support from us. But a year is not really enough. Like, you could have a super talented, new mediator who comes through the Higginbotham program and takes advantage of every piece of it and soaks it up. But a year later, if she doesn't know, so-and-so partner at that firm and so-and-so partner at that firm who always know their same people that they go to for this mediation or that arbitration, it doesn't matter how talented she is. Like, there is a networking piece of this ADR field that's different from the public dispute resolution system that, to me, makes it even more incumbent that we build some successful mentoring programs that get us from that beginning phase, brand new mediator arbitrator, to the phase where they can then be mentors to the next group. We have to get people from that, first, second, third year to the year 10, 11, 12. And we have these senior successful mediators and arbitrators who'd be willing to do it. Not all are senior, actually. Some people just break out fast, but we have people who are very willing to do it and want to see it. So that's sort of the next project.
Great. Well, kudos to you. It sounds like a great place to work, a great place to be. And, thank you so much. Before I end, I just want to go back and point out something that was inspiring to me, which is pay equity, men and women.
Yep.
White and non-white. What? That's amazing.
I know. I agree. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I learned a lot. I hope a lot of other people did today. Thank you so much. And, best of luck as you continue to grow that program and help this industry as a whole.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.